On May 9, 2010 a referendum was held, organized by the Integration Alliance for the European Union, in which the presidencies were chosen directly by the people. The communists wanted to boycott the referendum, advised the world not to vote. The required number of participants has not been formed, so the retirement has not been achieved. Then he was again summoned by Sergiu Rosu, the prosecutor of the Criminal Investigation Section on Extraordinary Causes of the General Prosecutor's Office, around 15.09.2010, and he was told again that if he did not give those statements as they wanted, it was envisaged that drug trafficking files or other criminal acts would be made. He did not have a lawyer because he thought he was quoted as a witness. He told them he would not give false testimony, and they threatened him again to make criminal files. Then he left home. On 28.09.1988 he left the country in Belarus and did not return to Moldova. He does not know if there were other people called to make false statements against Anatol Matasaru and Anatol Petrencu. As for the reasons why he asked for Romania's protection, he said he feared persecution in the Republic of Moldova, he risked being jailed. When he went to Belarus, he bought a Moscow-Casablanca ticket with transit through London. The idea was to seek asylum in the UK. But the ticket was not released, because another person before him said the same story he wanted to say, that he is going to Casablanca to get married. He then went to the embassy of Romania in Minsk and said he wanted to come to Romania from St. Andrew, 30.11.2011. He obtained a 3-day tourist visa. Also, when he was returned from Poland, he was banned from entering the Schengen area for a period of 5 years and therefore chose Romania. He knew the Romanian language and was illegal in Belarus. He is an atheist, is not part of an ethnic tribe/clan/GRP. He is a member of the European Action Movement since 2008, participated in the protest on July 4, 2009. The Christian Democratic People's Party collaborated with the Communists. The European Action Movement was a newly formed party and attracted many young people, and therefore chose to move from PPCD to the European Action Movement. The latter has as a emblem a key. The party's emblem was 12 stars and wrote May. The presidency was Anatol Petrencu, then Vyacheslav Antila. In 2011 he was included in the Liberal Party, headed by Mihai Gimpiu. The European Action Movement is struggling to integrate into the European Union and join NATO, but also to eliminate communists from power. He was president of the youth organization and vice president of the main structure, the Criulani branch, and subordinated to Secretary General Mariana Terenu. Organizes meetings with members, propaganda, has subordinate territorial organizations. He was never detained, arrested, or convicted, never received an arrest warrant. He cannot return to the Republic of Moldova because he will be arrested. He would have been caught by the country, so he cannot move to another area to get rid of the problems. If he obtains a form of protection in Romania, Mr. Plop Andrei wants to follow the courses of the Faculty of Law. Asked whether he has anything to say yet, he explained that he had written a petition to Traian Băsescu, which he submitted to the Embassy of Romania from the Republic of Moldova, requesting asylum on 24.04.09. He received an answer on 30.07.2009, in which he was told that he must be in Romania to seek asylum. In 2010, he was recommended to obtain a visa to enter Romania, but because it took too long, he chose to leave for Belarus. No other reasons were raised in support of asylum applications. Regarding other details of the state of affairs, reference is made to the content of the file. In law, in view of the legal situation of the facts presented by the applicant, the provisions of the Romanian Constitution and the provisions of Law 122/2006 on asylum in Romania, with subsequent amendments and completions, were taken into account. Analyzing these provisions results from the provisions of Law No. 122/2006 on asylum in Romania, with subsequent amendments and completions to the status and regime of refugees signed by Romania, as well as in accordance with the general internal and international provisions on fundamental human rights. 1. The analysis of the asylum application in terms of its inclusion in the elements of the refugee status definition. 1.a Analysis of the refugee definition element. Outside of the country of origin, the applicant is a citizen of the Republic of Moldova and on 30.11.2011 personally applied for asylum in Romania. 1.b Analysis of the elements. Acts of persecution / agents of persecution / persecution. Persecution means an action that is sufficiently serious in itself or by repeating the facts in order to expose the applicant to dangers likely to harm his or her life, bodily integrity or freedom, or to obviously prevent him from living in his country of origin, and is based on one or more of the following reasons: race, nationality, religion, membership of a social group, or public opinion. Whether the reasons are real or attributed to the person concerned by the persecuting agent. 1.b.I Analysis of acts of persecution. The reason for submitting a request by the applicant is that he would have been looking for the authorities, being considered one of the organizers of the protests of July 4, 2009. 1.b.2 Analysis of the persecution agents taking into account Article 11 of the Government Decision No. 1251/2006 for the approval of the methodological norms for the application of the Law No. 122/2006 on asylum in Romania, the subsequent acquisitions and additions. It was noted that in the present case the applicant invoked state persecution agents, respectively the authorities of the Republic of Moldova. 1.b.3 Analysis of the link between the invoked acts and one or more of the criteria set out in the refugee definition. Asked during the interview, the applicant tried to present evidence that the persecution was caused by one of the limiting reasons listed in Article 23 paragraph 1 of the Law No. 122/2006 on asylum in Romania, with the subsequent amendments and completions, that is, politics. He presented a lot of details about the political situation in the Republic of Moldova, the political parties and the demonstrations of July 4, 2009. He also exposed his situation in Poland as an asylum seeker, but these issues are of no importance in his case analysis, from the point of view of the asylum procedure in Romania. Asked to explain what problems he had in the Republic of Moldova, the alleged acts of persecution would be due to the fact that he would be considered one of the organizers of the protests from July 4, 2009. But it has to be taken into account that these protests took place against the communists, and now they are in opposition, the Alliance for European Integration, which is made up of the Liberal Democratic Party, the Democratic Party and the Liberal Party, in which the European Action Movement was also included. Thus, the party he was part of, being even a very important member, is currently in power, and seems unbelievable that he could persecute him because he participated in those demonstrations. Thus, from the analysis of the statements made during the interview, it was not possible to establish, in the applicant's case, the link between the allegedly acts of persecution and one of the reasons for the persecution foreseen in the refugee definition. 1.c State protection / alternative to internal retreat. Regarding the level of protection of the authorities and the alternative of the internal retreat, the following information from the country of origin is mentioned, in the context of the truth about the April 2009 events. Political analysts argue that it is important that the positions expressed by the heads of the force institutions be analyzed in the light of the political algorithm through which they came into office. As soon as the Alliance for European Integration was established, the General Prosecutor's office came to the Democratic Party, the Interior Minister of the Liberal Democratic Party, and the head of the Information and Security Service was returned to the Liberal Party. Deutsche Welle, April 7, 2009, A Sabotaged and Buried Truth, April 15, 2011, Access June 1, 2011. The fact that he had no problems with the authorities because he was hidden from his relatives seems to be untrue. In the context of the fact that he was a significant figure of political life in the Republic of Moldova. Moreover, it is not plausible to declare that a prosecutor within the General Prosecutor's office has been threatened, because he is also appointed by the country's leadership, the leadership of the former Movement for European Action, the current Liberal Party. Whose party important was the applicant? These aspects lead us to appreciate that it is not necessary to detail the protection provided by Moldovan authorities to the one in question. 1.d Analysis of the risk of future persecution. In case of return, we appreciate that if the applicant returns to his home country, it is unlikely that there will be a risk of future persecution against him. As long as he did not face problems from the Moldovan authorities until his departure from the Republic of Moldova. 2. Analysis of the elements of well-founded fear of being persecuted or exposed to a serious risk / establishing the credibility of the solicited statements as mentioned in the Handbook on Procedures and Criteria for Determining the Refugee State, Ankara, Geneva. 1992, the definition of the refugee and thus the notion of well-founded fear of being persecuted implies the presence of a subjective element in the person requesting such status. For this reason, the determination of the refugee state will mainly consist in assessing the solicited statements, and in judging the situation in his/her home country. Analyzing the well-founded phrase, it can be concluded that refugee status is not determined simply by the mere existence of a person's mood, but also by the objective situation on which he is based. 2.a Regarding the subjective element. In analyzing the subjective element of fear of persecution, it was taken into account that, according to the applicant's statements, his country of origin and the face of which the fear of persecution invoked is Moldova. Analyzing the fear of persecution invoked by the solicited person, from a subjective point of view, we appreciate that this is not founded, because it cannot be reasonably established that his continued stay in his country of origin became intolerable for himself because of reasons invoked in the definition, or become intolerable for the same reasons, if they return there. The applicant has alleged persecution on the part of the authorities in the Republic of Moldova, because he is considered the organizer of the protests that led to the removal of the Communists from the power and bringing the Alliance for European Integration, the alliance of the Liberal Party. The former Movement of the European Action, whose youth organizations would have been led by Mr. Andrei Plop. Thus, the claims invoked by the applicant cannot be regarded as plausible and credible. Under these circumstances, we appreciate that from the subjective point of view the fear of persecution of the applicant is unintelligible, without a real foundation. 2.b About the lens element. It is necessary to evaluate the statements made by the interviewee, which cannot be evaluated in abstract, but must be analyzed in the context of concrete situations, with the knowledge of the conditions in the country of origin. The latter being an element important in assessing the credibility of the person concerned. Considering the information in the country of origin, the following occurred, starting from the regional political and economic context. It can be said that 2010 was a relatively good one for the Republic of Moldova.